The rain came down in sheets, turning the highway into a blur of gray. Jake Morrison gripped the steering wheel of his old pickup truck, squinting through the failing wipers as he tried to keep the vehicle steady. In the back seat, his 6-year-old son, Tyler, sat quietly, too quietly for a child his age. At 34, Jake was a former Marine, honorably discharged after an injury left him with a limp and chronic pain. He'd come home expecting to rebuild his life, to be the father Tyler deserved. Instead, he'd found medical bills he couldn't pay, a job market that didn't value his skills, and a wife who decided she didn't sign up for a broken veteran. The divorce had taken everything: the house, most of his savings, his sense of worth. Now Jake and Tyler lived in a rundown rental on the edge of town, surviving on Jake's disability checks and whatever odd jobs he could pick up at the local hardware store. Tonight, they were driving home from Tyler's birthday dinner at a fast food restaurant, the only celebration Jake could afford. Thunder cracked overhead, and Tyler flinched. "It's okay, buddy," Jake said, trying to sound confident. "We're almost home." Then he saw them. Motorcycles, at least 20 of them, pulled off to the side of the road under an overpass. Even through the rain, he could make out the riders, all women, standing beside their bikes in leather jackets, looking soaked and stranded. Jake's first instinct was to keep driving. He had his own problems. But then he saw one of the women try to start her bike, saw the engine sputter and die, saw her shoulders slump in defeat. He thought about all the times fellow Marines had helped him when he was down, about the code he'd lived by, leave no one behind. He pulled over. The rain was even worse outside the truck. Jake limped toward the group, immediately recognizing the woman who seemed to be in charge. She was tall, maybe 40, with silver-streaked dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, her leather jacket bearing patches that spoke of years on the road. "You folks need help?" Jake called over the storm. The woman turned, assessing him with sharp green eyes. "Multiple bike breakdowns. This storm caught us by surprise. We're trying to reach a rally 50 miles north, but we're not making it tonight." Jake looked at the group. 20 women stranded in a storm miles from anywhere. His rental house flashed through his mind. It wasn't much, barely enough for him and Tyler. But it had a roof and dry floors. "I've got a place about 10 minutes from here," he heard himself say. "It's not fancy, but it's dry. You could wait out the storm, maybe call for a tow truck when the weather clears." The woman studied him. "That's generous, but we're a lot of people." "Ma'am," Jake said, his Marine training showing through, "it's not safe out here. I've got space. It's the right thing to do." She extended her hand. "Diana Blackwood. I'm the CEO of Blackwood Industries. These are my employees. We do an annual ride for charity." Jake shook her hand, surprised. CEO or not, she was soaked and stranded like everyone else. "Jake Morrison, former Marine. Let me lead you to my place." 20 motorcycles and one pickup truck pulled up to Jake's small rental house 15 minutes later. It looked even more run down in the storm, the paint peeling, the porch sagging slightly. Jake felt a flush of embarrassment as these professional women dismounted their bikes and looked at his humble home. But Diana just smiled. "Shelter is shelter. Thank you for this." They filed inside, dripping water onto the worn carpet. Jake's living room had a couch held together with duct tape, a TV from the early 2000s, and Tyler's toys scattered in one corner. The kitchen was barely big enough for 3 people, let alone 21. Tyler peeked out from behind Jake's leg, eyes wide at all the strangers. "This is my son Tyler," Jake said. "Turned 6 today. Happy birthday, young man," Diana said warmly. Then, "To the group, ladies. Let's be respectful guests. We're grateful for the hospitality." What happened next amazed Jake. These women who could have been dismissive or uncomfortable in his shabby home instead made themselves useful. A few began helping Tyler set up his new coloring books from his birthday. Others asked if they could make coffee. Diana pulled out her phone and started arranging tow trucks. One woman, introduced as Sarah, a logistics manager at Blackwood Industries, noticed Jake limping and quietly asked if he had pain medication. Another, named Nicole, saw the stack of medical bills on the kitchen counter and didn't say anything, but her expression grew thoughtful. As the storm raged outside, The house filled with the warmth of 21 unexpected guests. The women told stories of their ride, of the children's hospital they were raising money for. Tyler, normally shy around strangers, sat enthralled as one of the riders showed him pictures of her motorcycle. Diana found Jake in the kitchen trying to make enough coffee for everyone with his ancient coffee maker. "Your former Marine?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. 3 tours overseas. Took shrapnel in my leg during the last one. And now?" Jake hesitated, trying to make it work. "Disability helps, but it's not much. I pick up shifts at a hardware store when I can. Tyler's a good kid. We manage." Diana looked around the kitchen, taking in the sparse cabinets, the bills on the counter, the calendar marked with Tyler's school events and Jake's shifts. She saw what Jake wasn't saying, that he was barely managing, that pride was the only thing keeping him upright. "What did you do in the Marines?" she asked. "Logistics and supply chain management. Made sure troops had what they needed, when they needed it. Coordinated shipments, managed inventory across 3 bases. Diana's eyes lit up. "That's remarkable experience." Jake shrugged. "Doesn't translate well to civilian work apparently. Companies want college degrees and software experience, not field logistics from combat zones. Some companies are short-sighted," Diana said quietly. The storm finally broke around midnight. The tow trucks arrived to haul the broken motorcycles. The women gathered their things, preparing to head to a hotel in town now that the roads were safer. Diana was the last to leave. She stood in Jake's doorway, Tyler asleep on the couch behind them. "Thank you, Jake. What you did tonight, opening your home to strangers when you clearly have your own struggles, that says everything about your character." "Just did what was right, ma'am." Diana pulled out a business card. "Blackwood Industries manufactures motorcycle parts and accessories. We're expanding our logistics division. I need someone who understands supply chain management under pressure, someone with integrity and leadership experience." She pressed the card into his hand. "Call my office Monday. I'd like to offer you a position." Jake stared at the card. "Ma'am, I don't have a college degree. I'm not sure I'm qualified." "You managed supply chains in war zones, Jake. You kept your head in a crisis and helped stranded strangers when you had every reason to keep driving. You're more qualified than half the people I interview." She paused. "The salary is $75,000 to start, full benefits including comprehensive medical coverage. We have on-site child care for Tyler, and we specifically seek to hire veterans." Jake's vision blurred. $75,000, medical coverage, child care. It sounded like a dream. "Why?" he managed to ask. "You don't know me. I know enough. I know you saw people in trouble and didn't hesitate to help, even though helping cost you something. I know you're raising a good kid in hard circumstances. I know you understand sacrifice and duty." Diana smiled. "Besides, I built my company on taking chances on people who others overlook. It's worked out pretty well so far." She turned to leave, then looked back. "Oh, and Jake? There's a signing bonus, $20,000. Should help with those medical bills I couldn't help but notice." Jake couldn't speak. He just nodded, tears streaming down his face. Diana paused at her motorcycle. "One more thing. We do this charity ride every year. Next year, if you're interested, you and Tyler could join us. We always need good people." Monday morning, Jake called the number on the card. By Monday afternoon, he'd been to Blackwood Industries, met with the HR department, and had a job offer in writing. The office was professional, welcoming, and filled with other veterans Diana had hired over the years. Sarah, the logistics manager he'd met during the storm, would be his direct supervisor. "Diana has a gift for seeing potential in people," she told him. "Half of our executive team are people she took a chance on. You'll fit right in." The first paycheck changed everything. Jake paid off the most urgent medical bills. He bought Tyler new shoes that actually fit. He fixed the truck's wipers. Small things that had been impossible before. But more than the money, the job gave Jake back his sense of purpose. His skills mattered. His experience was valued. He was part of a team again, a mission. Something bigger than just surviving day to day. 6 months later, Jake had saved enough for a down payment on a small house with a yard for Tyler. The medical bills were nearly cleared. Tyler had new clothes, art supplies, and the kind of childhood Jake had worried he'd never be able to provide. One Saturday, Diana stopped by Jake's office. "We're doing the charity ride next month. Tyler mentioned to Sarah that he'd like to go. What do you think?" Jake smiled. "I think we'd be honored." The day of the ride, Jake rode in a support vehicle with Tyler, following the group of motorcycles. They stopped at the children's hospital, where the riders presented a check for $250,000 raised through sponsorships and donations. Tyler watched in awe as Diana handed the oversized check to the hospital director. "Dad, she's like a superhero." "She is, buddy, but you know what? Sometimes superheroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they just stop to help when they see someone in trouble." Diana overheard and came over. "Your dad's a superhero too, Tyler. He helped a whole group of stranded women in a storm, even though it would have been easier to keep driving." "Really?" Tyler looked up at Jake with new eyes. "Really," Diana confirmed. "And that's why we help each other, Tyler, because we never know when we might be the ones who need help. Your dad taught me that night that the size of someone's house doesn't measure the size of their heart." That evening, back at his new house, Jake put Tyler to bed and stood in the doorway watching his son sleep. He thought about that rainy night, about the choice to pull over, about how one act of kindness had changed everything. He'd thought he was helping them, but really, they'd saved him. Not with charity, but with opportunity. Not with pity, but with respect. Diana had seen past his circumstances to his capabilities, past his struggles to his strength. In the military, Jake had learned that the mission always comes first. But Diana had taught him something new, that sometimes the mission is simply to see people clearly, to recognize their worth when the world has looked past them, to offer a hand up instead of a handout. And sometimes, when you stop to help someone in a storm, you discover that you were the one who needed shelter all along. You just needed someone to see it and care enough to do something about it. If this story touched your heart, please like and share it with someone who believes in second chances and seeing people's potential. Subscribe for more stories about unexpected kindness and the power of opportunity, and leave a comment about a time when someone took a chance on you when others didn't. Your story might inspire someone to be that person for someone else.